It's a new day in the workroom and the fishiest bitch in her story is still here. You can't get rid of me that easily. Well, I wasn't actually the one lip syncing for my life. I didn't do that terrible. That was the walking freak show Pennywise and what was his name again? Celia's boyfriend? I don't even know, and you know what, I don't even care. But I was personally called out last week by RuPaul to step it up. Granny, I'm about to step my pussy up so much because I am not looking like a damn fool on this show again. Now get me a runway challenge pronto so I can serve you up some glamour. Not that I haven't already, it's the others, they're lacking the glamour.
It's a new week and I am feeling incredible. I am just coming off my win in the Horror Mania Rusical. I'm on such a high right now. Being in the top for 3 consecutive weeks, I don't want to jinx myself right now, but I think I am the front runner, and I plan on not stopping anytime soon. I hope to give Cynthia a run for her money, and be the queen with the strongest track record in herstory. It's possible, I just have to believe in myself and push myself, because taking risks right now is working in my favor, using a glue gun when everyone else was using sewing machines, and being the Babadook. It's risks you gotta take in a competition like this to stand out. Luckily it's working in my favor right now, and to Mike, we will miss you a lot here.
Walking in here without Mike is so weird, especially after what Blacephalon told me when we were at the hotel restaurant last night. He said that Mike told him that he was really good friends with my dad. And you know what, I do remember someone being with my dad a lot in his little man cave having snow cones, and I can't believe that was Mike. You know what, Mike, thank you so much for being there for my dad. The Bomnables truly love you, and I will really miss you here. And you know what, Mike, I will win this next challenge and I will dedicate that win to you. I would love to win another challenge. I want to be the first queen here to win 2 challenges. Can we maybe have another design challenge, haha? I know the others would be furious if we did. Well, not Kazumi, she's an incredible designer, but I am better, haha.
The queens gather round and they congratulate Alice once again for winning last week's challenge, and then they congratulate Blacephalon for surviving the elimination. They thank them. Marshmallow looking to Blacephalon and said he really turned it out with that lip sync, and if she had seen that in a bar, she would have given him a massive tip. Blacephalon thanks Marshmallow and said he performs so much better without choreography, and said to the queens they wouldn't want to be in the bottom with him because they will be going home.
Bless Marshmallow, she would have given me a massive tip if we were at a bar, and you know what, I believe her. But I put these queens on notice how I perform. I'm an improv performer, I don't like choreography, I can never pick it up. I just like to do my own thing, and when it's my Michael Jackson number, baby, I go wild. I remember being given a crazy tip once during that show. I think it was like a $1,000 tip. But that was about 3 years ago. I never did see who that was. I was very much engrossed in my performance. But as Lois Griffin famously said, whoever you are, thank you. But I am ready to bounce myself back up. I had one minor stumble and I won't have that happen again. Just no more dancing, please.
Ivy, looking to Marshmallow and asked how much would you tip Blacephalon? Then looks to Blacephalon and told him she was actually impressed and didn't think he could lip sync like he could. Marshmallow then said at least 100 she would have tipped. Ivy said the most she was tipped by someone was about $100. Finster shocked said, really? Ivy nods and said yes, she's an incredible performer, and asks Finster how much in rocks or whatever they used to tip back in her day did she get. Finster annoyed said she still got tipped in dollars, sweetheart, so keep it cute. Ivy laughing said she's not cute, she's drop dead gorgeous, shame things can't be said about you. Kazumi annoyed said to Ivy to knock it off because the tension in the workroom is already at an all-time high. Ivy looking to Kazumi, and said she don't often apologize but she apologizes. Kazumi said it's not her she should apologize to, it's Finster. Ivy laughs and said no thanks.
My goodness, I can't cope with all this drama, ha. We got Ivy and Finster reading each other, and then the tension between Goldine and Glacian is crazy right now. They haven't said a single word in this workroom, they're just staring at each other. And if I were Glacian, I wouldn't take my eyes off her either, especially after she threw her cocktail in Glacian's face during Untucked. I need someone to crack a joke or something, to lighten the mood. I know Mike would have done that, but unfortunately he is not here right now. But right now they're discussing tips. I won't tell them how much I got tipped once because it was a lot and I don't want to bring down the mood when I reveal I was tipped 144.51 Japanese yen, which is equivalent to $20,000 once by a billionaire at one of my shows in Japan. I am no joke when it comes to a lip sync.
Blacephalon said he was tipped $1,000 once at his show in Alola. Angie gasped and said that's incredible and Blacephalon is lucky. Glaceon chuckles and tells Blacephalon that was her. Blacephalon gasped and said really? Goldine laughing said of course not, she hasn't got that type of money to throw away. Glaceon annoyed told Goldine to shut up and that was her when she was touring with the House of Eevee. They stopped off in Alola and visited the local bar and happened to run into Blacephalon's show. Goldine laughing, said now you're definitely lying because the House of Eevee never get any bookings.
You know what, I'm not even going to entertain her right now and give her the drama she is craving. She got that last week when she threw her cocktail in my face. Oh sweetie, your time is coming, don't you worry. I'm just so happy that Blacephalon remembered my tip I gave him during my stop off at Alola with the House of Eevee tour. And she's one to talk about bookings. I can't remember the last one she got booked and turned up sober too.
I forgot Glaceon is a comedy queen, because that joke was hilarious. There is no way on earth that bitch gave a $1,000 tip. She can't afford to give that type of money away. I mean look at her. Her drag looks like it's came from H&M clearance sale. Oh, I haven't laughed that much in a long time.
Miss Finster asked the queens who has been the most professional Rue girl they have worked with and who has been the worst. Angie laughing, said she knows one queen who is the absolute worst. Ivy rolls her eyes and said not you mentioning Lola once again, you can't keep her name out your mouth. Angie said technically her name did not leave her mouth. Ivy shakes her head and said we all know you're talking about Lola.
Yes, I am talking about that queen I won't name. We were asked a question who's the most professional Rue girl we have worked with and who is the worst we have worked with. And yes, that bitch is the absolute worst queen I have ever met and worked with. She's made my life hell. She tried stealing my man plenty of times, even after he dumped her, but I will say this. I have worked with Starmie once when she was touring the Reef, and she was the most professional queen I have ever had the pleasure working with. And I can't believe she is from the same house Goldine is from. My goodness, Misty has her work cut out for her.
Oh, here she goes, Lola this and Lola that. Fucking hell, she needs to get over her honestly. It's no shade towards Lola, I actually think she's sickening. I loved her on all of her seasons, a very well-deserved winner for the first versus the world. I feel sorry for her having to put up with Angie all this time, but I will say this, the most professional Rue girl I've worked with, and I don't tend to work with a lot of them, they rarely come by my hometown. But I guess I would have to say Azura from season 11, and the worst? I'm just going to say Angie, because she won't shut up about a certain queen.
Marshmallow said she's worked with many Rue girls, and a lot of them were so nice and so professional, but there was one who was really rude towards her. Alice gasps and asked who? Marshmallow said Celia. Goldine said Mike's girlfriend. Marshmallow nods. Kazumi asks Marshmallow what happened, and Marshmallow tells the queens the beef with Celia.
So sugars, let me tell you a little story about me and Celia. I was actually very surprised to see her on the panel last week for the Rusical. She is lucky I wasn't being critiqued. But me and my dear friend and my trans sister, Ida Davis, and I, with a couple of our trans siblings, we were protesting for trans rights once again outside of the White House, and a limousine happened to drive by, and the car honked its horn and rolled down its window, and all of a sudden we were hit with water and paint balloons. It was chaos. And they sped off, but I happened to see in the window out of the corner of my eye, a purple woman with snakes on her head. I then told Ida who it was. This was around the time Ida won the Tony Award over Celia. I then messaged her on Twitter calling her a lunatic, but the bitch blocked me. So yeah, we didn't quite work together, but she is one I cannot stand. But I do love you, Mike. You were an absolute gem. And as for my most professional Rue girl I've worked with, has to be one of my best Judies, Linda Belcher.
Now from what Marshmallow just told us about Celia, it's not even 10 minutes in the box. It's an eternity.
The queens are stunned. Abby asked Marshmallow did they call the cops? Marshmallow said no, they did not let that stop them from protesting for trans rights. She's had worse thrown at her, she was just pissed she had to get the paint out of her wig. Miss Finster said to Marshmallow that she's so brave and so inspiring, and not let these transphobes bring you down. Blacephalon asks Marshmallow does she think Celia is transphobic? Marshmallow said no, not at all, she thinks she was just jealous of Ida, because she won the Tony Award over Celia. Glaceon asks how did she track you down? Marshmallow said they put up a post on Craigslist to join them in their fight for trans rights. Miss Finster looks to Marshmallow and said the next protest she is hosting, she will be attending. Alice nods and said she will be there as well. Kazumi said she will get on the first flight from Vegas to be there. Angie said of course she will be there. Glaceon nods and said she will be right by Marshmallow's side. Goldine said she will be busy that day. All the queens looked to her. Goldine said she was joking and she will be there.
Of course I will also be joining the queens at the next protest for trans rights. Wow, that Celia is crazy. We need to make sure Daphne has a bodyguard on her at all times, haha. Mike and I were pretty close in this competition and he did tell me how crazy she was. Sorry Mike to air our conversation, haha. I just wish he were here with me, but I can't let him not being here affect my performance in this competition. I know I will see him again, and the next time I do I'll be wearing that crown. I'm just ready for the next challenge, whatever it may be.
Hello, hello, hello!
Yay, it's RuPaul, my #1 fan, haha. I love the fact that RuPaul loves me and I know it's driving some of these queens wild. But it's always good to see her. I do wish to see her more. That's why whatever this challenge is, I need to make sure I'm back in the top, so she can see me more. I cannot let her down, at all.
My queens, it's so good to see you all once again, but the competition is really starting to heat up and there are only 10 of you, and for one of you this is your last day in the competition.
RuPaul is correct, the competition is really starting to heat up. And I know for a fact I will not be going home this episode. I've seen the top spot just last week, and this week I have to keep my place in the top. I finally felt seen by the judges last week and I'm kind of hoping we get an acting or maybe a comedy challenge. I feel like they're perfect for me just like the Rusical last week.
And for your Maxi challenge this week. This challenge we will really find out who has the charisma, uniqueness, nerve and talent to win this competition.
I wonder what this challenge could be. I know I definitely have the charisma, uniqueness, nerve and talent to bag myself another win. I don't know about the rest of these queens. Some of them don't even have a win yet.
I kinda have an idea what this challenge is going to be and I am a little nervous, because impersonations is not my thing. I think we are playing the Snatch game. Lord Jesus, take the wheel.
This week's Maxi challenge, well my dears, you will be playing the Snatch game, so bring your best impersonations, and I will see you on the main stage, where we will be joined by our extra special guest judge, the winner of the very first Snatch game, Season 1 Queen, Homer Simpson. Good luck and don't fuck it up.
Now this is the challenge I needed for my comeback, because I know exactly who I am doing and I know you probably know who I'm doing as well. And the answer is yes, I am doing the king of pop himself, and one of my inspirations, Michael Jackson. But I've got my own little twist, you're gonna have to wait and see. Plus we have the very first winner of the Snatch game on the panel, Homer Simpson. It's criminal he hasn't returned for an All-Stars yet, but Lois Griffin can come back 3 times and flop every time. Absolutely criminal.
Wow, so we are playing the Snatch game this week, and I am excited. I am torn between 2 characters, and I don't know who to go with. I might have to ask the queens for some advice. My first choice, I know I hate her, but she has so much material because she's so messy, but I'm probably going to go with Lola. Oh, here's Angie again mentioning Lola. I can hear Ivy already. Girls, shut the fuck up. And my other choice is a funny one. I was going to be the bush that Ione was hiding in when the whole spray paint gate happened on Versus the World. But how would I make a bush funny?
The queens gather round to discuss the Snatch game. Blacephalon smiling asks, are any of the queens nervous? Kazumi nods and said she's a little nervous because she don't think she's a funny queen. Alice looks to Kazumi and said she's laughed at a joke or 2 she's made. Kazumi thanks Alice and said that's different, she has to do these jokes as another person. Blacephalon said it should be easy if you've chosen the correct person to impersonate and then asks Kazumi who she is playing. Kazumi said she knows she's not going to be the winner of the challenge but she wants to play it safe, so she's chosen to be Ling Xiaoyu from Season 9. Blacephalon said interesting choice, and then said you could have chosen Christy? She had a funny moment or 2 on Season 10, Kazumi said she could have but she doesn't quite have the body tea to pull her off. Miss Finster asked what's body tea? Kazumi shrugs her shoulders and said she has no idea. Blacephalon said yes, maybe stick with Ling Xiaoyu then.
I've accepted the fact this is not my challenge to win, but I am still going to try my best. I am not a quitter at all. I could have went with my sister Christy, but she just has a different energy than I do and it's a bit much, but I do feel like I'm more connected with my other Tekken sister, Ling Xiaoyu. I just hope I can do her justice tonight. I don't want to bomb the Snatch game like she did.
Kazumi then asks Miss Finster who is she doing? Miss Finster said she's going to be the icon, Judge Judy. Alice looking to Finster and said that is probably the best choice she could possibly do. Finster thanks Alice and said she really does have the personality to do Judge Judy well. Just as Glaceon was about to say something, Miss Finster yells baloney, they all laugh. Marshmallow asks Finster is she worried? Finster said why would she be worried? Marshmallow said RuPaul loves Judge Judy and she watches her every day.
Well shit. I didn't know RuPaul watches Judge Judy every day. Now the pressure is really on, but I know I am capable of doing well in this challenge, and I know I will have RuPaul in hysterics. She will need to be put in the box just to calm her ass down from how funny I am about to be.
Alice wishes Miss Finster luck and said she knows she's a funny queen, she got this in the bag. Finster thanks Alice and asks her who is she doing for Snatch Game. Alice said she's going to take another risk. Angie concerned asked her why. Alice said it's helped her get where she is and to stay in the top, and why stop now? Glaceon nods and said that's a good point. Alice thanks Glaceon and said she could easily go out on that Snatch Game set as someone like Queen of Hearts, but she's going to be Eleanor Charles. Miss Finster asked her who is Eleanor Charles. Marshmallow looking to Finster and said you don't watch Mistress Mondays? Finster chuckled and said she's booked and blessed to be sat watching TV. Alice chuckling said it's a YouTube series, and she is going to be playing Mistress Isabel Brooks' persona, Eleanor Charles. Kazumi said that is a big risk because Eleanor is hilarious. Blacephalon asked Alice does she think she can be on the same level of humor as Eleanor? Alice chuckling said I guess we're gonna have to find out, high risk is high reward. Angie looking to Alice and said she really wants her to do well, and hopefully this risk will pay off for her.
I can see all of these queens looking gagged that I am taking yet another risk. Why be boring and play it safe? If the risk doesn't pay off then I guess I'll have to lip sync for my life. But I have faith in myself, and my comedic skills. I watch Mistress Mondays every Monday. I have a lot of knowledge on Eleanor Charles to make this funny, and I will do my big one. I didn't have many other options to be honest. I had Queen of Hearts, Emma Watson, and Lady Camden, but I think they're just safe options, and I don't want to be safe, I want to win.
Kazumi looking to Marshmallow and asks her who is she going to play. Marshmallow said she has a couple of options actually she's very well prepared. Finster's nods and asks what are her options. Marshmallow said she's got Linda Belcher, RuPaul, Nene Leakes, Keke Palmer, Beyonce, Kelly Rowland, Michelle Obama, Lashana, Storm and Rasputia from Norbit. The queens are stunned by the amount of options. Marshmallow laughs and said she knew Snatch Game was gonna happen and she will not be anywhere near the bottom for this challenge. This is her challenge. Blacephalon asks her who is she leaning towards the most. Marshmallow said either RuPaul, Linda Belcher or Keke Palmer, and asks the queens who she should play. Finster said RuPaul is a risky choice but if you want to be like Alice and go for a risk, then go for RuPaul. Kazumi agreed, and said Keke Palmer would be a good choice for her. Angie also agreed on Keke Palmer. Glaceon said Linda Belcher would be a fun choice. Marshmallow thanks them and said she will have a think she got plenty of material on the three of them.
Sugars, I have plenty of material for this Snatch Game, but I am undecided who to play. I would love to play RuPaul in front of RuPaul, but I think Abby is playing RuPaul because you know she's her favorite so why wouldn't she? And then I could play Linda Belcher. I know her personally and I know her well, but I don't think the judges would because she wasn't around that long on both her seasons. I guess I can go with Keke Palmer, she's hilarious, and so am I. Baby this is Keke Palmer.
Kazumi asks Glaceon who she is going to be. Glaceon said she don't really know. Blacephalon said you could be your mother Evie? Glaceon said could be but she hasn't had much of a memorable moment on her season. Blacephalon said that's not quite fair to say those seasons were over within 10 minutes back then. They all laugh. Glaceon said she's gonna go with Denali the Queen of the Ice. Kazumi said don't you think that's a little safe? Glaceon looks to her and said so is being Ling Xiaoyu. Kazumi said you got a fair point there. They both laugh.
No shade to my mother Evie of course, but she's not memorable enough to be a character for the Snatch Game, but that's not her fault. Back on season 3, the episodes were very short. They just introduced mirror messages and were 2 minutes an episode. My goodness how times have changed. But I decided to go with Denali from The Real Drag Race. I find her funny, and she's an ice queen like myself, so I can play on that. I just hope RuPaul will get my reasoning of choosing her. I just need to do better than Goldine. I mean that won't be hard. She's bottomed every single episode.
Angie said she's torn between two characters, well one character and a bush. The queens are confused. Alice said what do you mean a bush? Angie tells them she's torn between being Lola or the bush that Ione was hiding in during versus the world. Glaceon said you can't be a bush because what the hell will you do? Finster said that Glaceon is correct, you can't be a bush, you have no material. Marshmallow tells Angie, you shouldn't be Lola either, because you're not mean enough to be her. Angie said she can be? Marshmallow said you really can't. Angie said she's got a villainous mind? Marshmallow looks to her and said to Angie to call her fat ass Kelly Price. Angie said she can't do that. Marshmallow said maybe a character change is needed. Finster looks to Angie and said she can try and help her tap into her villainous ways. Angie thanks Miss Finster and apologizes to Marshmallow for not calling her that. Marshmallow said sister apologizing is not very villainous. Marshmallow then tells Angie to tell her to shut up. Angie said she can't. Finster looks to her and told her to tell Marshmallow to shut up or she's not even going in the box, she's heading straight out the door. Angie looks to Marshmallow and told her to shut up. Marshmallow nods and tells her baby step-sister.
I honestly want to thank both Marshmallow and Finster for their help with my little masterclass. I was at the point of not choosing Lola, but I want to rub it in her face when I win the Snatch game as her. Something she has never achieved in her life. In the bottom for 2 of her Snatch games she has played, I still think she should have been lip-syncing for the Season 8 Snatch game and her All-Stars 3. I've known and worked with her for many years, and I know I can pull this off. I'm just a little worried I won't be as mean as she is, because she's a bitch.
Glaceon, looking to Blacephalon and said, do we really need to ask who you're playing? Blacephalon laughs and said of course not, and the answer is yes, he's playing Michael Jackson. Miss Finster looks to him and says, don't you think the judges will think it's predictable? Kazumi agreed and said she's concerned for him. Blacephalon chuckles and said to Kazumi, I appreciate your concerns, but he does not have the same concerns, and laughs to himself. The queens just stare at each other.
I love the fact they're concerned for me. It's fine, I get this all the time. Other queens don't get my style of drag or my antics. But little do they know, of course I'm being Michael Jackson, but I'm playing Cory King as Michael Jackson. Don't forget to tap the screen. Like Alice, I am taking a risk, and I know this risk will pay off. It will be something different that RuPaul has not seen before. She will either love it or hate it. So I need to get working on it.
Marshmallow said there's a lot of preparation to get on with, and they all really need to work on their characters. Everyone agreed and they all begin preparing for the Snatch game.
I'm hearing a lot of gasps and a lot of ugly voices over in that direction. I need them to shut up because I am busy getting into my character. Not that I need much preparation. I got her nailed down, like Jesus on the cross.
Abby, Goldine and Ivy are talking about the upcoming Snatch game. Abby asks them are they nervous because they don't really give off comedy queen vibes. Goldine said she is a little nervous actually, especially after being called out by RuPaul last week. It really has lit a fire under her ass, and she has picked a character that RuPaul loves so much so she has to be in the top for it. Ivy, intrigued, asked who is Goldine going to play. Goldine said she's going to be playing the second fishiest queen in her story, and the second most villainous queen in her story just behind herself, Lola. Ivy nods and said very fitting, you look just like her. Goldine looks to Ivy and said not all fishy queens look the same, you know. They both laugh.
What? So Goldine is playing Lola? That's crazy because so am I. I'm totally joking, but I did overhear that Angie is playing her, so we're about to have a Lola off, I fear. I got to let her know, because I kinda want to see her reaction.
Goldine then looks to Ivy and asks who she is playing. Ivy said she will be playing the Hollywood icon, Elizabeth Taylor. Goldine said she has no idea who that is. Ivy looks to Goldine and said get the fuck out of this competition if you don't know Elizabeth Taylor. Goldine asked Ivy is she a family member of hers? Ivy said obviously not. Goldine then tells Ivy get off her fucking neck about not knowing who Elizabeth Taylor is. Ivy said everyone should know her. Abby said she doesn't either. Ivy said you're both uncultured and should lip sync tonight for that reason alone. They both laugh.
Oh my god, I am surrounded by uncultured and untalented bitches. What do you mean you don't know Elizabeth Taylor? She's been in many famous movies, National Velvet, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Cleopatra? How do you not know Cleopatra? My god, calm down Ivy, it's not that serious. But what is serious, is this Snatch game. I'm not quite the funny queen, but I know I'm capable of making Elizabeth Taylor funny. I hope I can make RuPaul laugh, if not I might have to quit this competition. I'm kidding of course, see I made a joke, I can be funny.
Goldine then asks Abby who she is doing, RuPaul perhaps? Abby laughing said how did you know? Goldine said it's pretty obvious and of course you'll win this challenge. Abby laughing said no, she's actually being Lola. Goldine shocked said really, you're joking right, you look nothing like her. Abby said she's joking of course but she did overhear someone else is playing her. Goldine annoyed said who? Abby points to Angie. Goldine shakes her head and said she will eat her up, she's awful. Ivy nods and said she's obsessed with her, even more than Ione is obsessed with Lola. They all laugh. Abby then tells them she is going to be Katya Zamolodchikova. Goldine asks why? Abby said why not? Goldine looked to her and said hope you're packed. Abby just laughs and said you got bigger fish to fry. Goldine said she's very offended by that last comment, and said you're right. Goldine then tries to get Angie's attention, but Angie tells her to leave her alone and do one. Goldine annoyed flips her off, and tells Abby and Ivy may the best Lola win. Abby laughing said you're both having a mid-off. Goldine tells her to shut up and works on her impression of Lola.
So there's going to be 2 Lolas. Oh prison honey. I tried to get Angie to come over because I for one do not want to be anywhere near Glaceon. Ugh, just saying her name out loud makes me want to puke. But Angie just told me to do one. Excuse me? Who the hell does she think she is, coming for a pretty queen like me when she looks like that? We will both be Lola on that Snatch game, and I will beat her ass and be declared the winner of the damn challenge.
Kazumi Mishima will be Ling Xiaoyu. Marshmallow will be Kiki Palmer. Glaceon will be Denali. Goldine will be Lola. Angie will also be Lola. Abby Abominable will be Katya. Blacephalon will be Corey King as Michael Jackson. Miss Finster will be Judge Judy. Ivy will be Elizabeth Taylor. Alice will be Eleanor Charles. Blacephalon, Miss Finster and Marshmallow slayed the challenge.
Going into the Snatch game I was a little nervous, and a little is all it was. The moment RuPaul introduced me as Judge Judy those nerves went and I read RuPaul for filth. But in a good way. Had her laughing the whole Snatch game. I think I have a very good shot at winning tonight.
Well sugars, I did it. I slayed this Snatch game. Not only did I make RuPaul laugh a lot, I had the whole panel cracking up. I did try and volley with some of them but they couldn't keep up. Luckily I was placed next to Blacephalon, and oh my god he had me in stitches. I broke character at one point. He was hilarious. I could see why he wasn't concerned because that Corey King as Michael Jackson was incredible.
Glaceon and Abby Abominable had a great performance.
I'm actually pretty proud of myself. I thought I was going to bomb the Snatch game, but no surprise on who did. I'll let you figure that out. But I was a little worried being Denali, but I gagged it out and I made RuPaul laugh once or twice. I think I could be in the top.
After watching this show for so long, I finally participated in a Snatch game of my own, and I couldn't be more proud of myself. I really hope my drag mother Queen Sectonia is watching and is proud of me, because I could have easily been RuPaul, as I know some of these queens thought I was going to be. But I was Katya and she's very funny, and RuPaul lost her mind when I started speaking Russian. I'm not quite Russian, but in school we had to take Russian classes, and I kinda ate it up, just like the Snatch game.
Kazumi Mishima, Ivy and Alice had a good performance.
Wow, Snatch game is much harder than I expected, but I made it work. I cracked a joke or two with RuPaul. There was a time I had a laugh out of her. But there was a couple queens who did steal a lot of the spotlight. I guess it's because they were funnier than the rest of us. But either way I am happy with my portrayal of my sister Ling Xiaoyu.
Well, thank God that's over. I hated every minute of the Snatch game. We had queens dominating and taking all the laughs. I think it's very unprofessional, to be quite honest. They know most of us aren't comedy queens. I'm looking at you, Finster. How about I put you in this so-called box? You need it. But I think my portrayal of Elizabeth Taylor was winning worthy, to be honest with you.
Goldine and Angie had a bad performance.
Well, Snatch game is over. Thank God. That was so hard. It was a little confusing for both Lolas because RuPaul would be asking me a question but it was actually for Angie and vice versa. But Angie was worse than me. She should volunteer herself to send a tweet out to Lola for not serving up Queen of the World realness. And don't get me started on the unprofessionalism of these comedy queens. They didn't give us a chance to fucking breathe. Especially that walking freak show. I thought he was playing Michael Jackson, not LaToya Jackson. Michael would be embarrassed.
I will admit that was not my best showing in this competition. I think it was worse than the first design challenge where my dress was falling apart. I tried my hardest to read these queens, but it's just not in my nature. But I could see Marshmallow looking to me, and I did manage to call her a fat-ass Kelly Price. After the Snatch game was done I immediately apologized to her, and she told me she was proud of me for calling her that, but not for the apology. Sorry Marshmallow once again.
Welcome to the main stage of Cartoon Drag Race Season 12, let me introduce to you my judging panel this week. Up first she is the fashion icon, and my right-hand gal. The champion of Season 8, she is Musa. Up next she is the powerhouse of Cartoon Drag Race, the champion of Season 11, she is Cynthia. And our extra special guest judge, all the way from Season 1. One of the pioneers of Cartoon Drag Race and the winner of the first Snatch game, he is Homer Simpson, welcome home darling. Now for this week's Maxi Challenge, we challenged our queens to participate in the Snatch game, some were tops and some were flops. Now racers, start your engines and may the best drag queen win. Now let the judging commence. Blacephalon and Miss Finster, congratulations, you're both the winner of this week's challenge.
Oh my god, thank you so much. I am so thankful to get this win tonight. Finally got a win around here, and to win the Snatch game means so much. To me, I'm happy my kind of drag is being celebrated right now. I dedicate this win to all the weirdos out there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, I'm on top of the world right now. This win feels is incredible. This is one of the challenges you really need to do well in to become Cartoon's next drag superstar, and myself and Blacephalon have edged our way closer to the crown. Thank you, RuPaul.
Marshmallow and Abby Abominable, good job this week, you are both safe.
Wow, I thought we were going to have a triple win with myself up there, but honestly congrats to both of them, they were hilarious. I did think I was a little bit more funnier, but I respect the decision tonight. I'm happy to be in the top again, sugars, but I feel like I am overdue a win by now. Next week I just have to work harder to make sure I am declared the winner.
Thank you so much. Back in the top. I am a little gutted I am not the winner of this challenge. I thought being RuPaul's favorite has its perks. I'm totally kidding, haha. Both of them deserve their win, but it is great to be out of the safe zone and into the top again. Thank you, RuPaul.
Angie, Goldine and Alice, you are the bottom queens. Alice, you are safe.
Oh my god, I could cry right now. I knew playing such a character in Eleanor Charles would be a risk, and unfortunately this week the risk did not pay off, but I am so thankful and grateful to not be lip-syncing tonight. I am rooting for you, Angie, my friend, my sister, send her home.
Angie and Goldine, you are both up for elimination.
The time has come for you to lip sync for your life.
I knew I was going to be here the moment I put that Lola wig on. What on earth was I thinking? Maybe I should have been the bush after all. But I look across the stage to that smug look on her face, and I cannot wait to be the one to send her home. She's given me so much grief the moment I locked eyes on her on episode 1. Sorry Glaceon, but I have to send her home, crying back to her mama.
Well, here I am once again in the bottom. It's basically my second home right now. I would be more scared if Alice was standing across from me. I seen what Angie can bring to a lip sync, and that's nothing. Oh, I'm sorry, she can actually bring something. Her tired ass looking drag, she looks a mess. I feel sorry for RuPaul having to witness such a creature, but I am ready, hit the damn music so I can send this bitch back home to the sharks.
The lip sync song is Bad Girls by Donna Summer. Goldine slayed the lip sync, Angie had a bad lip sync.
Ladies, I've made my decision.
Goldine.
Shantae, you stay.
Angie.
Sashay away.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I have loved every moment of it, meeting new sisters. I love you all. Well, not you, Goldine and Ivy. Everyone else keep shining, keep serving, and don't let the sharks bite.
This is Untucked.
The queens unwind and untuck backstage. They all grab a cocktail and they congratulate Blacephalon and Miss Finster on their Snatch game win, and they just shake their head at Goldine. Ivy congratulates Goldine for surviving another lip sync. Glaceon looking to Goldine and said to her, not only are you an awful fish, but you're an awful drag queen. Goldine said, whatever girl, she may be awful but at least her drag doesn't look like it came from the H&M clearance section. Blacephalon looks to Glaceon and said her drag looks very expensive and very sickening. Glaceon thanks Blacephalon and said she knows, and Goldine is just jealous because no one likes her. Goldine laughing said, I wouldn't take compliments from a walking freak show, and the only person she cares about liking her is RuPaul, which she clearly does. Miss Finster tells Goldine she don't know how on earth she is still here. Angie should have stayed even after that poor lip sync. Before Goldine could open her mouth, Glaceon launches her cocktail in Goldine's face. The queens gasp. Glaceon said, that's for last week, you bitch. Goldine wipes the cocktail from her face and tells Glaceon she's lucky she's signed a contract and walks off. Both Ivy and Abby follow her. Miss Finster looks to Glaceon and said she's proud of her for that. She don't normally condone cocktail throwing, but she will let that one pass. They all laugh. Alice said she really deserved that. Glaceon said she's pissed she doesn't have a cocktail now and laughs. Alice looks to Glaceon and said she can have hers. Glaceon said no, she's only joking. Alice insists and said she doesn't drink anyway. Glaceon thanks Alice and they both hug. Marshmallow looking to Alice and asks if she's okay. Alice said it hurts seeing a friend go home when it should have been someone else. Kazumi nods and said how can RuPaul keep someone who has been in the bottom every single episode. Glaceon said she hates to admit it, but Goldine really slayed that lip sync. Finster said if she had not done as good as she did, she probably would have gone home. The queens agree. As the queens are talking, a TV screen is wheeled in for Miss Finster, and on the screen is TJ Detweiler. Miss Finster is so happy. Detweiler tells Miss Finster they are all so proud of her journey and they're so happy the world gets to see what Miss Finster really is like. Miss Finster asks how's Randall. Detweiler tells her he's been his usual self getting all the dirt and gossip. Finster laughs. Detweiler tells Finster to keep doing what she's doing. They all are rooting for her and he has to go because he's got a trip back into the box. The queens gasp. Miss Finster said it's good to know that the box is still being used. Alice asks Finster who was that. Miss Finster said one of the kids back home. He's an absolute hooligan, but she cares for him a lot, he's always getting himself into trouble. Another screen is wheeled in this time for Blacephalon, and on the screen is his drag mother, and the mother of the House of Nimbasa, Elisa, from Cartoon Drag Race Philippines Season 1. Blacephalon starts crying. Elisa tells Blacephalon the House of Nimbasa are all so proud of him for being his authentic self and for snatching a win, and don't let anyone bring you down just because they don't understand your drag. RuPaul understands it and so do we, and we can't wait to see you again soon. Keep slaying and keep making her proud. Alice hugs Blacephalon and said that was so sweet, and Elisa is so sickening and should have won Philippines Season 1. Blacephalon agreed and said she was robbed. They all laugh. Blacephalon thanks Alice and the other queens for treating him kindly. Miss Finster said why wouldn't they? Blacephalon said he often gets mistreated by the other queens back home because of his kooky drag style. Kazumi said she loves how unique he is, and he would sell out a Vegas residency with his type of drag. Kazumi then said she will speak to the CEO of Caesar's Palace when she leaves here with the crown. The queens laugh. Blacephalon thanks Kazumi and said he's not sure if Vegas is the calling for him just yet, but you never know what might happen in the future. They all laugh and continue bonding. Abby looking to Goldine and asks if she's okay. Goldine said yeah, a little bit of cocktail is nothing for her, she's used to a cocktail or two being thrown at her. Ivy asked Goldine why she didn't retaliate. Goldine said she actually deserved it. Ivy said you did, but there was no need for that to happen. Abby chuckling, said to Goldine is she going to bottom next episode as well? Goldine laughs and said probably it's her thing now, isn't it? Goldine then tells them she's trying really hard, but the thought of Glaceon being in the same room as her is so off-putting, and that's not just because of her awful drag, and how much she smells. It's because of just her. Ivy said one of you really needs to go. Goldine chuckling said it definitely will not be her. Ivy said she's crossing her fingers for her. Goldine then looking to Abby and said why don't you have a problem with Glaceon? Abby confused asked her why would she? Goldine said you both have the same drag aesthetic, you know, Christmas couture. Abby laughing said her drag isn't Christmas couture, and then tells Goldine didn't you say Glaceon's drag looks like H&M clearance? Goldine nods and said it does. Abby then said do you think her drag does as well? Goldine said she does. Abby shocked, said she's so horrible. Goldine laughing, said you didn't let her finish, she was going to say, she does not think. Abby just looks at her, and said she was close this week to a win, and hopes to continue with that next week. Ivy said she really wants a runway challenge because her looks are so fucking sickening the rest of the queens will gag. The three of them continue laughing and bonding.
Hey, squirrel friend. When one video ends, just open up another one. It's called binge viewing. Go ahead. I support you.